front of you today if it weren't for my Bible. So I want to tell you just a little bit that even my own family members who are in this room don't know about me. So when I was a very, very little girl, my mother left our home. So everybody has a mother and a father, but they don't always live in the same house with you. That's just the way life goes sometimes. So my mother did not live in the house with me. In fact, I didn't even know her. I didn't know who she was. So I was alone a lot. And in my thoughts when I was alone, something I did was think about God. This is the truth. And I remember being maybe the age of the youngest in here, saying to my father, why do people die? And he said to me this answer, he said, because they get old. But I knew that there was more than that, because I knew that sometimes people died and they weren't old. So I said to him, no, Dad, they're not always old. Why do they die? And he walked away and never answered me, because he didn't know the answer to that question. So different times in my life, when I was alone, have you ever been alone? So you could be alone if you're in your room. I was never alone in my room because my sister was always there. Boy, was that rough. You sleep in the same room with a sister? It gets rough. If you do, it can really get rough, yeah. Some of you know, my sister used to draw an invisible line in the middle of the room and tell me I wasn't allowed to cross over onto her side. Now, she was older than me and also really big. And I would say to her, but I need to go to the bathroom, because her side of the room was always where the door was. And she wouldn't let me out. She would say, try it. Now remember, I wasn't raised in a home where there was a mother in the house, so there was nobody there to stop her. So I jumped up and down on the other side of the room, claiming I was going to go to the bathroom right there if she didn't let me out. But she'd say, if you try to come over here, you'll be sorry. So I never crossed that line. I just sometimes fell asleep, but different times in my life when I was alone, this is true. I would think thoughts about God. And some of the thoughts, they were always good thoughts, because I always knew that God was good. When bad things happened in my life, I never blamed God. I knew it wasn't his fault, because God is only ever good. But I decided to tell God that if somebody would not want their baby and would give the baby to me, I would take care of the baby. I was 5, but I remember praying that and saying, oh, I want a baby, I want a baby. Maybe somebody will leave a baby on my doorstep and run away. And I'll take the baby and I'll be the baby's mother. Well, that would have not been fun. Would you want to have a 5-year-old for your mother? No, I don't think so. So God was smart in not letting that baby ever end up on my doorstep. But then, as I got to be a little bit older, I got married and I began to have babies. But in the process of that, all of those questions that I had about God, I didn't have a Bible. So I didn't know the answers to the questions that I had about God. But somebody began to tell my husband and myself about God. And as we read the Bible, I got all the answers I was looking for. And that's the truth. All of the answers that I had about life and God were found right here in this book, the Bible. And you know what my husband and I decided? There is a lady and a man in the Bible his name was Abraham. Do you know his wife's name? Sarah. So some of you know that. So Abraham and Sarah started out on a journey in life all alone, all by themselves. They didn't take any family members with them. They were just all alone. And as they were on that journey, something wonderful happened. They had a child. That child had a child. That child had a child. Many children. Then those many children had children. And the next thing you know, they became a whole gigantic nation of people. But it started with just one man and one woman. And when my husband and I started to read the Bible, you know what we said? This is true. We said, we're like Abraham and Sarah. We're all alone. We don't have anybody else coming with us. But God has a plan for our lives.
Amen.
And God did have a plan for our lives. So I want to tell you about that plan. The plan for our lives was to serve God morning